Hey, this is Sarah and Kenzie from Halftone Digital. Here at Halftone, we create products that are, in fact, digital and used globally. Many of the interfaces that we design are functional for people's jobs and experiences. They include a whole host of services and applications that, mostly, live somewhere on the web. In the hope that everyone can get to experience the products we design, we want to make sure that everyone has access. And by access, I'm talking about accessibility.
Accessibility on the web is broken down into a few categories: having accessibility visually, audibly, cognitively, and accessibility for the motor impaired. Web content is currently in the stages of being reformed to provide a more thoughtful experience to all users. We can design and develop in ways that will improve the function of assistive technology, such as screen readers, refreshable braille displays, font choice, touchscreen, voice command, and other bridge building software. In doing so, we're going to be able to give independence to those with impaired senses. So today, Sarah and I are going to run through a few different ways you can make your designs accessible for those that are specifically visually impaired, whether that be a variety of color deficiencies, cloudiness, contrast loss, vertigo, dyslexia, or complete blindness. We will continue to make more posts about other assistive technology and design processes, so stay tuned as we expand on the topic of digital designers' responsibility and accessibility.
If you haven't heard of alternative text, otherwise known by its colloquial version, alt text, now is a great time to introduce yourself. On the web, images can and often do replace text or describe what is happening. For example, a flowchart. A flowchart that is an image, a JPEG or a PNG for example, and has no locally embedded text to support it, is just another blank part of the web for those that are visually impaired. Say that chart described how a financial structure worked or some important research that they could use for their job. A person that is visually impaired might not be able to see a progress bar on a page, and therefore not be able to know when a package is being delivered.
All this talk about alt text really doesn't show you how to implement it. We already have a post on alt text, which you can find on our blog. So if you're looking for more details on alt text best practices, head over there to learn about how images should be described, how they shouldn't, and where alt text should go. This will allow for all those who cannot see to not be omitted from gathering information on their own.
And according to the World Health Organization, vision impairment affects no less than 2.2 billion people worldwide. That's almost all of China and India combined, as of 2020 that is. Of this population of users who require assistive technology, many have deemed the internet unfit for their usage. Not using alt text can, and often does, inhibit this user base from ever interacting with your site. Many sites don't take advantage of the benefits of alt text.
We're looking at sites like Facebook, Amazon, and YouTube, and realizing that these super sites are some of the least accessible sites for those that are visually impaired. I mean, come on. These are the areas of the web that everyone shares or uses as a resource for information to sell their products. 2.2 billion people out there are struggling to interact, and it's a huge wall keeping them out of valuable content.
And when I said take advantage of the benefits, I mean in addition to accessing this market of individuals. SEO, otherwise known as search engine optimization, helps Google prioritize and deliver your site to relevant people, and it just so happens to include alt text. According to Google's page on image best practices, Google places high importance on all page content in order for their computer vision algorithms to, quote, understand the subject matter of the image, unquote. Be as descriptive as you can, but spamming keywords isn't what we're looking for, and nor is it what Google's algorithm prioritizes. Stuffing your alt text with keywords can lead to your site being marked as spam content.
How developers implement alt tags has become a matter of personal interpretation. For SEO, though, correctly implemented alt text can not only assist users with visual impairments or poor internet access, but they can also strengthen the message of your web pages within search engines. Websites that score higher on accessibility are also compliant with the Disability Discrimination Act, which has been a legal obligation as of 1999. It states, you now have the legal obligation to make reasonable adjustments to ensure that blind and partially sighted people can access your service. A lot of sites are breaching these terms. You might be familiar with the lawsuit Domino's lost back in 2019.
Yeah, this case was famous among the UX, UI, and particularly the accessibility communities nationwide. A man sued Domino's after being unable to order pizza, even with screen reading technology. The case was originally filed in 2016 and was settled just last year when the Supreme Court ruled that Domino's must make its website and mobile app more accessible. We as creators, companies, and services can meet the expectations provided for us by the Disability Discrimination Act, since it isn't the big, awful, unmanageable beast the name makes it out to be. The guidelines we can refer to for closer inspection are AA and AAA regulations, which cross-examines color contrast and text size. Text sizes can help those who struggle to see small type suffer from low acuity, ghosting, and other forms of cloudiness like cataracts. There's an incredible amount of resources, plugins, and extensions that can help us out here.
Some resources you can start with include Stark, No Coffee, Chrome's Inspect tool, and using screen curtain mode with VoiceOver on Apple products. These extensions and plugins can be integrated into your own experience on the internet to improve empathy, but they can also be used to ensure that you're hitting the right notes on your site. Stark is used for your production phase. Check your contrast, your text sizes, and colors using Stark in the applications like Adobe XD and Sketch. No Coffee is a Chrome extension that simulates a wide variety of visual impairments from blur, glare, ghosting, cataracts, color blindness, and blocked visual fields in a variety of different scales and spectrums. Chrome's Inspect tool recently made the addition of noticing contrast levels and keyboard focusable status. Lastly, Screen Curtain turns off your display and allows you to truly test screen readers. This really comes in handy when you're testing on tablets, phones, and even watches.
The topic of accessibility in fonts is a difficult one to have with some designers. On the one hand, we as digital creatives are passionate about the art form that is typography. We are passionate about how it looks, and sometimes the functionality of the type can get lost. On the other hand, those with disabilities such as dyslexia, typefaces can make a sea of text illegible. But the truth is that following some simple guidelines can increase the visual understanding of that page. The main rule is to create a really solid structure on the page. Stick to 60 to 70 characters per line that are between 12 to 14 point fonts, but we personally prefer 16 to 18 point fonts just to be safe. And, if you can, avoid using italics when possible, because this can make words run together, as suggested by Paul Crichton at UserZoom.
So listen, if you're out there creating digital experiences, it's your job to make it accessible. You have the responsibility to become informed and deliver products that follow regulations. It's not going to hinder your creativity. It's going to allow for an entirely new audience to be able to efficiently take in that information, whether that's for their job or for entertainment.
To recap, a few things that you can go check out. First, the expectations of the Disability Discrimination Act and the AA and AAA regulations. And second, add accessibility testing to your design process and do it early. Starting over because you failed an accessibility test is the last thing you need to be worried about. Early adoption of these practices will put your team ahead of the game.
There are a lot of ways that we can improve the digital world for those that are visually impaired. If you have any questions about how to better your process, or if you need a consultation about your product's level of accessibility, please comment or send us a message at info@halftone.digital.
The more information we get, the more we can share. Please share your favorite tools, resources, and research in the comments section down below.